Welcome to Action Hour. I'm Lindsay Baker, and today we are going to talk about a young man from Uganda who started the first vegan youth empowerment program. Bonnie Crocker, you are a big part of this program. Thank you for being on the show today. Bonnie, what is the latest with this group? And tell us a little bit of how they got started with this unique idea to start a youth empowerment program in Uganda. Thanks for being on. Unmute yourself, Bonnie. You're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Wonderful. Yes, the program really started within the heart of one young man named Moses Kalyango, who is now the program director. As a child, for the first 8 years of his life, his mother raised him vegan, and he was ridiculed and made fun of for loving animals and protecting them. He also spent time in an orphanage after her death, so he developed all the feelings and the empathy for other people and children that are in the same position. He went to college.
And we're going to get into all of that.
Yes.
But let's start off with introducing people a little bit to the organization. And I think Moses does a great job himself here. So let's play this clip.
Greetings to you all. My name is Kalyango Moses, the program director, Chotela Vegan Youth Empowerment Program, a non-profit organization which was founded in 1st January 2017. It was founded by a group of vegan youth and animal activists who had an idea.
We are here at Kandamit Farm Sanctuary, where we keep the rescued animals. At the sanctuary, we have the beautiful, amazing cows. We have the dogs, hens, and every beautiful soul of an animal. It's our cause to see that we struggle towards that noble cause, to save the animals.
Wow, they are involved in so many types of activities. You mentioned the orphans. There's a sanctuary. There's an outreach program. They do protests. They have a school. They teach art and technology. And we're going to talk about all of this. But Bonnie, how did Moses come up with this idea? How did he get the beginning resources? We're talking about people that are they have so little resources.
Yes, he was blessed with artistic ability, both musically and in terms of painting. And he was recognized as a who did not have fees to go to school. There's no public education where he is. So he received scholarships, and he actually trained and received a college degree to become a social worker in Uganda. However, it was so difficult to find work that he got together with other people of the same mind, and they formed Kyotera Vegan Youth Empowerment Program so that they could go out and do social work as they saw the need. And they do it without, receiving salary. So he's actually a licensed social worker.
Wow.
But the goodness of his heart, as well as the volunteers' hearts, they work for free, only on donations.
How do they exist if they work for free?
Donations. Some of them are living with family members who put food on the table, and there's various resources that they come up with, but they are always struggling and always in need, but they are so dedicated. There's a core of 9 of volunteers, including some volunteer school teachers that run the school with 250 students. So it's really a miraculous group of people, and
Yeah, I have a couple pictures here of them at work. I was looking for them. I wanted to show they have very limited resources. And that's one of the things we want to talk about today is how people can help out this group. And of course, we always say share out videos, our video, etc., and share out this broadcast. But if you have something to donate, like an item, that's great too, isn't it, Bonnie? You want to just jump in a little bit and we'll go back to it later?
Actually, unfortunately, it's been our experience that the shipping costs from the United States to Uganda are so exorbitant. I shipped them 3 vegan flags that were donated, and it cost $360 to ship the flags. So,
Wow.
so items actually are not beneficial.
What would be the best way for someone to make a donation in terms of like if they had equipment or something like that they wanted to donate? They wouldn't really be able to do that unless they're overseas, right?
Yeah,
Like
they would have to, maybe if somehow they were through their business operations, they were able to get it to the capital city, perhaps Kampala, which is 110 miles away from Kyotera, where Moses and his group are located. Something like that might be able to, say, if it was flown into Entebbe airport and somehow transportation was able to get it to Moses and his organization. But as I've said, I've wanted to send them books. I've had friends that have wanted to send them clothes and other items, and the mailing fees are so incredibly exorbitant that it just doesn't work. However, he can ship things to us for a moderate amount with DHL, which is
yes, and we want to show his artwork soon.
Yes.
Tell people that this is another way you can help. Let me grab this video here. I have his art show and his art slides. Now my big question is, how does someone purchase artwork? Because that would be great for the organization and not too shabby for your home.
No, in fact, right behind me is a beautiful memorial portrait that Moses painted for the fallen racehorse Medina Spirit.
Yes, and we can talk a little bit about that. They actually did do a protest about horse racing, and I do think we have a clip of that. I'm looking for the image of Medina Spirit, but I do know I have it, and I'll come up with it in a little while. But there are so many amazing pictures that he's painted and done, and not a lot, I'd say a few people that know about it here through you, Bonnie, and through Celia Acevedo and Ellen Dent, who are also supporters. We're going to talk about how they helped out. I think it was Celia gave the flags, the vegan flags, correct?
Celia donated 3 vegan flags, and they fly them proudly there everywhere they go through their protests and beyond.
Oh, that's so wonderful. I know I heard also that they need a megaphone. So it seems like what about if somebody bought like a megaphone, donated a megaphone through Amazon? Is it complicated to ship things there, or is that something?
Yeah, the Amazon does not deliver directly there. Well, we're up against a lot of challenges. And what I was going to say is, Lindsay, later when you post Moses's email, which will be moseskalyango5@gmail.com, you'll be posting it. That's the best way to contact him personally, to find out how to commission a painting of your pet or of something else you desire to have painted, and then he can work out all the details with you. It's teamwork. He talks about the size of the painting, the colors you like for your home.
Oh, really?
And it's a lot of fun. In fact, I have a painting in Los Angeles right now that's going to be delivered soon. We track them all over the world. We have a lot of fun. We tell one another, it's in Amsterdam, it's in Germany, it's in the United States.
You know, the interesting thing, I know people are probably wondering about price, and I do want to, you had agreed with me, this would be okay to say, that the paintings probably run between $500 and $3,000.
Yes.
And is that a good estimate?
Yes, and that includes the shipping. Moses takes a 6-hour, 220-mile round trip to Kampala. to the DHL office to mail them. Sometimes he has to stay overnight there because the buses don't run all during the night.
Oh my
and then
gracious.
he has to ship them. So whatever price you decide on with Moses, according to what size and how many subjects are in the painting and what specialties you might want, you can negotiate a price with them. And I used to think when I first started working with Moses, I had a really incorrect idea of, I was thinking that our money went farther down there.
That's
And
my
it does,
thoughts exactly.
it
Why?
does only for medical or educational purposes. You can get some good deals on medical treatment and education down there, but anything that's considered luxury, like canvases, oil paints, paint brushes, all those things have a high tax and import tax. You know,
Is
for
it
example,
corruption
washing
or
machine.
is it corruption, do you think? Or I mean, you may not know, you're not an expert.
I don't know,
so hard to
why
get.
the import taxes are so high. You'd think that they would want more goods to come in, but we're talking, comparatively speaking, I'm not trying to wander here, but a washing machine is $1,200. A pair of running shoes is $500, for Adidas or Nike.
Oh,
And yet you can save somebody's life maybe for $2,000 with including medical treatment. So
well, that's
Moses
good
and I,
news.
yeah, we've had to work all of this out and see what's reasonable for him to do a painting. Just to get started and get his canvas and paints can be $200.
Let me show the art slides
him a couple
again.
hundred
Yes. So,
to
yeah,
go to Kampala.
yeah. So I didn't mean to cut you off there. I did see the Medina Spirit. I do want to show the work again,
Yes.
but what you're saying, that sounds like a lot of money, $500 to $3,000, but you have to factor in all the supplies that he has to buy. They're very expensive because hard to get, for partially because where they are so isolated.
Yes.
Second thing is the tariffs and the taxes, etc. And the third thing is the trip he has to take to do it, and the resources and the gasoline. Also, we'll get into this in a minute, but he also has a donated motorcycle is the only car they have. But let's look at the slides again. Stay on this subject for a moment. There's so much to talk about. I don't know what happened there for a second, but one other thing I did want to mention is it's really not that expensive in terms of when you go out to buy canvases, because I've been furnishing our new home, and believe me, a painting, they're prints of a print of a print, and they're charging you $500 for something that is worthless. This is an original art piece, and the money goes to fund this amazing sanctuary, saving children's lives, saving people's lives, teaching people to go vegan.
Right.
I mean, it's a win-win for everyone, Bonnie. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, it really is. When you consider what you'd pay an artist here in the States, commission them to paint your pet or your house and ask for colors and expression and that sort of thing. And Moses is happy to create right along with you to make sure that you're happy with the painting. So it's really a special thing. And then, like you said, he donates the money, most of it, to the group. I mean, he has to earn a living. He has to pay his electric bill and water. He has a right as an artist, but he turns most of it right over to the group.
Yeah, he is an amazing individual. Let's look at a little bit more of what he does. How about the art school? Wow. So tell us a little bit about what's going on there in the school.
They have scheduled times when the children meet in those designated areas that you see for art lessons. The artists, including Moses, also go out to their vegan school that teaches 250 students and do art lessons. So they teach art in those two locations. They also have an art gallery, a large space where they have community members come in, a lot of youth, and even parents and family members come in and experience art together. It's a great way to do the vegan outreach, appreciation for nature and the earth.
Yes. And while they're there, they're learning about how to become vegan, the foods, why it's important. They're educating the children, and they're also educating the adults, which is amazing. Let's watch another clip about some other work that he does and the group.
This Chotela Vegan Youth Empowerment Program, we have a number of challenges. We face a challenge of harassment. During the protests we make to fight for the animal rights, we are harassed, brutally beaten, and sometimes detained. So in this we lack justice. Sometimes when we are taken to police, sometimes when our colleagues are forwarded to courts of law, we lack justice since our country doesn't have laws that do govern animals. And this becomes expensive for us to detain our colleagues, and sometimes they face charges which we could have hoped or intervened to see that they are rescued from serving punishments that they don't deserve.
Tell me about the activist being prosecuted and what he's talking about there when they're doing the protests.
One of my favorite instances that Moses related to me, he was standing out in front of a meat market with his vegan sign and paraphernalia, and a police officer came up and got in his face and said, "We are the police. Get out of here. You're not allowed to be here." And our dear friend Moses looked him right in the eye and he said, "We are the vegan police and we're not leaving."
I love it.
Yeah, I love it too.
So brave.
Yes, they're very brave, and they actually practice self-defense, and they realize that anytime they could be approached, beaten, jumped on, kicked, and so they're a brave group of people. They're kind and they're sweet and they're loving, but they're also extremely brave, extremely strong, and very determined to spread the vegan message.
Bonnie, do you think that you can get Moses on the phone? We're going to try. We had some communication problems, but we're going to try.
I could try to get him on Messenger Voice. I don't.
Okay, I thought you had it set up, but if not, never mind.
I don't have it set up. Yeah, we usually communicate through Messenger. What I have set up is just I told him that my phone will be on mute, but if he's okay, he says, Moses says, "We are directly watching you from Uganda. Hello to all our viewers. We are getting you right here with all the KVYEP colleagues." So they're watching us. Hello in Uganda.
Hi, everyone. We love you. We love the work you're doing. Hello from America. And I hope that we can touch the hearts of our viewers. And I know my viewers have big hearts, and all the people that get to watch this show, and give you guys lots of help and support, because you guys are wonderful. Thank you. Can you get them? You can't get him on the phone, but you can tell him. Ask him if there's anything he'd like us to know about their current work or what's going on. In the meantime, I can tell you that they have not only helped children, they have a full animal sanctuary. They have cows, they have chickens, they have dogs, they have goats. So again, on very little resources, they are doing amazing things, and it would be great if we could help them. Yeah. I just want to show, it's called the Chotela Vegan Youth Empowerment Program, and Moses is the head of it. He is one of the activists, but there's several. How many are there altogether, Bonnie?
It's It's 9 core activists that volunteer, and then they have 4 volunteer school teachers that teach 250 children, primarily from the local orphanages, but they also assist single parent families, mothers that have no support, and they pay
Right.
their school fees.
Yes, you said you were telling me about that. And they, what kind of support do they give them? Food, clothing?
Through donations they acquire from well-wishers, people
Okay, today we are going.
people like us. They provide school supplies. They also provide meals, vegan meals, rice and sweet potatoes and fruit and bananas. And in fact, there's some pictures of those things now.
Yes, we're going to talk about these orphans. Why don't we do that now? Is Moses able to communicate anymore? I don't want to.
Yes, he's messaging me now. I asked him if he wants to tell us anything while we're on the show, and he's messaging.
Okay, so you'll read his message in a few minutes,
Yeah.
but let's talk about the orphans that he discovered and the whole situation, starting with where he found them, etc.
Well,
If you would.
yes, they go out into what they call field work, where they literally walk through the local villages and look for people and children in need. And the picture that's on the screen now, he found an 8-year-old child taking care of 3 little toddlers. And they were malnourished, and they had, you can see on his foot there, the little child has a badly infected foot, and he had several medical problems, and he likely would not have survived if Moses hadn't come across them.
So in this picture, Bonnie, in this picture, which is the one next to him is the one that was taking care of all the other children, or
the tallest girl in the black dress is the one that was taking care of the other children. They were on their own.
Okay, the little girl to his camera right.
If
the black dress.
Camera, if the camera's right, it's Moses's left arm.
Yes. Yeah. And then here's a couple more pictures of the orphans here. Now, of course, they're happy, but when I'm see if I can find some more, I have a lot here. These are when they were later rescued, and of course, learning about veganism with the vegan flag. But I have some with the doctor's office. They took them for the baby's foot. And tell a little bit about this. Is that that's the aunt, right?
Yes, he was able to find an aunt. By talking to the 8-year-old, he was able to figure out where this one existing relative was. And she agreed that she would take them in and care for them as long as they had help, with food and clothing from Kyotera Vegan Youth Empowerment Program. So Moses and his colleagues agreed, yes, we'll help you. So now they are living with an adult, but they were actually just under the care of the 8-year-old to go and forage for food.
Wow. And they just lived in a little corner, that corner where he was. They slept on the floor with no blankets. No, they had like a few rags, but that was it. And here we see he bought them mattresses. They're each holding a mattress.
Through donations from people like us and people in the community. And now they're registered with their community as a nonprofit, but they don't receive any monies from the community. It's just other well-wishers in the, neighbors, family, just average people that donate a little bit when they can.
Yes, yes. And people can donate. You can contact Moses to donate in whatever amount. It doesn't matter how small, how large, it would help a lot. Bonnie, let's talk about some of the other things that he does. Now, one of the things we mentioned was transportation. And how do they get around? Talk a little bit about that.
Well, their only actual form of transportation that they own, as you mentioned earlier, was a motorcycle that was refurbished and donated to them. They also have taxis in the form of other people that have motorcycles that will ride them around. Sometimes they get around by taxi. If the donations are coming in and they're fruitful that month, sometimes they can afford to rent a minivan to take people or art objects someplace to be sold or to be shown. But it's always a challenge. That's what I've realize that every single thing they do that we often take for granted here is a challenge over there, from transportation to food to medical care, education. Everything that we're so blessed with here in the United States is a challenge there.
Yeah, that's true. And we have to think about that. Let's play another clip here of it's called A Simple Leaf.
Okay, today we are going to learn about a simple leaf. A simple leaf. A simple leaf. I'm going to learn about the elements of art and design. The elements of art and design are going to guide us on how to draw a simple leaf. Tugenda kweyambisa obubonero bwa art tusobole okuba ekiki. This is what you call a simple leaf. You pick one here. Pick one here. Just pick a simple leaf. You might do which one. You which here. Okay, you measure.
No, we want.
Why are you doing? What you see? I've been taking it. So we are going to follow the basic elements of art. More after work, line here over what? What is your paper? Draw this circular curved line. We begin with a quick sketching. The sketching. That is a simple form of drawing. This is a line of symmetry. It is a line of C because a leaf it has a symmetry line like this one. Let us be so. First is finished all the parts before the teacher.
I like that part where he says that he finished all the parts before the teacher. Talk a little bit about how important it is for children, this education they're getting here.
Yes, what they do is they provide structure in an often chaotic world for those children. They teach them and expect them to be on time to come to the lessons. They teach them to be polite and respectful, to preserve resources. And it's just a wonderful beginning for their lives that are very unfortunate in some circumstances. They may be living in very modest or poor conditions, and that might be the light of their day, the light of their life, to come to school or an environment such as you've just seen. So it's drastically important to give them a good start in life.
Right. It might be the only chance they have in life. And
yes.
It's so amazing that we can help. Here's another one with Moses talking about the different needs that
Because
they have.
as I told you before, we are a non-profit organization fully registered in Uganda, based in Chotera district. We don't have any funding. We do it voluntarily. We do it with passion and love, the love we have for the animals. So when we get fellow activists who can give us a hand in such situations, these increase our urge and passion to learn our activities and programs. So the art gallery is also situated in Chotera district, Uganda. And here on this point, I call upon the vegan world and dear fellow activists to continue ordering for these paintings for your pets and your families so that we can get the funding, because when you order, we get the funding that helps in learning our activities, because we believe that if we support each other, we can save this world and the animals from cruel activities.
It just always touches my heart, and it's just so incredible to me how much they are doing with how little they have of resources. It keeps just coming back to me, and how we can help. It's so easy for us to help. And the great thing is you can get a free painting. I mean, not free painting, but usually when you donate, you don't get
I
anything
know.
except the good feeling of doing something good, which is awesome. But the paintings are
I
like
know.
so beautiful, and probably will be worth a lot of money someday, although we can't guarantee that, because
I
they
have a
are.
feeling Moses is going to be a well-known artist.
I mean, his work is so expressive and so
Yeah.
beautiful. I just want to mention to everyone, if they have not yet downloaded the app Unchained TV, it's totally free. And you can do that now. Just go to watch.unchainedtv.com and download our free streaming network. There's all sorts of programming on there, and shows like this, but many, many others, documentaries, feature films, cooking shows, comedy shows, music shows, shorts, whatever you want in the vegan world, in the world of conservation. And it's great, folks. You have to download the app. So donate to Moses and download the app. Bonnie, what else can we tell folks about Moses that we haven't yet covered?
What is so wonderful, they do appreciate every amount you donate, no matter how small, and they are so efficient and proficient and professional. They send you a receipt, and they'll even photocopy invoices if they tell you that your donation is going to provide a meal for a family or an event. They'll send you copies of receipts. I remember one time I helped them put on a community event, and they sent me receipts for 20 pounds of potatoes, 10 sacks of rice, that
Wow.
sort of thing. They want to let you know that everything you send is put to good use. You never have to wonder where your donation went. And
I love that.
yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. And now there are some of the other activities that they get involved in. Can you talk a little bit about the marathon or the health
Yes,
run?
this was a year ago. It was just recently International Women's Day, but the year prior to the recent one, they worked with several other corporations and entities in the area to help put on a 10K race. And so you see Moses standing there with people that were involved in the race, and Moses ran the whole 6 miles with the vegan flag draped on his shoulders. It was so cute. I've seen videos of him running the 6 miles with the vegan flag flying on his shoulders.
Wow. He's so dedicated
I
and
know.
so amazing. The type of stuff that he does, it just wows me.
Yeah, I mean, you
to have
will.
the courage.
The wonderful thing about contacting Moses directly is that you will get to know him. And I warn you, you're going to fall in love with him and his colleagues. You can't help it. They're just the most beautiful, dedicated group of people. In fact, he has a little message on the phone, if you'd like to hear that.
Go ahead,
He
please.
says, we want to tell our viewers that we love them so much. We seek for their cooperation so that we can move to liberate the animal rights and be spreading the healing gossip of veganism. They call it the gossip or the message.
I love that. It is sort of it's an all-inclusive religion of the golden rule, isn't it? And if
It
we
really
all
is.
guided, we probably would
Yes.
have peace on earth for the first time.
Definitely. And
lots of happy kids.
yes.
Lots of happy kids. So Monty, how did you meet Moses and how did you become involved? And we also want to talk a little bit about the other folks that have helped him greatly. You want to go into that?
Sure. I almost remember perfectly our first conversation. It was on Facebook, and there was a picture of Moses with a little reddish brown calf named Helen. And I believe he spoke to me first. I believe he said, "Hi, how are you doing?" And the picture was just so lovely. I said, "Well, hello, how are you? Who's your little friend there?" We started talking about the calf, and that led to conversations about his animal rescue and Kyotera Vegan Youth Empowerment Program. And we began to communicate, day by day, week by week. And the more I learned, I became so fascinated with everything that he's doing and his background. And he was so open and candid. I mean, he sent me pictures of his diplomas, from college, and he sent me copies of his registration as a nonprofit with his city and awards that they've earned. And he really reached out to make sure that I and anyone I shared the information with understood that they're for real.
Yes, that's probably something we should mention too, because there are so many people. Like, I was thinking when you were saying that he reached out and you started talking to him, I've had people from overseas reach out to me, and sometimes I haven't responded because I was afraid. I would like to get to know them, but sometimes you just don't know. And I love the fact that Moses is so intent on making sure that we all know that the money is going to the right place. This is legitimate sanctuary, and everything else that he does. I mean, you just talk to him and you immediately realize that he's for real.
Yes.
But it is hard for them to make that kind of a contact. And maybe you can just address that. Like, how did you have trepidation, and how did you
sure.
the situation?
In fact, he was describing the little calf, and he mentioned that he said something about if he had $40, he would take her to the vet. Well, at the first mention of money, I thought, oh dear, I have to be careful that, my heart doesn't spill on the ground and I start sending this stranger $40 over the internet. All of those things crossed my mind. In fact, he'll remember I said to him, well, Moses, my heart goes out to you, but I don't donate internationally. I'm sorry. And he says, oh, no problem. He says, there's a lot of scammers out there, a lot of bad people, and I don't blame you. And he never asked for money. Beyond the only time he mentioned money was, gee, if I had $40 for the calf, and I told him, sorry, I can't do it. But then we got to talking about his artwork, and I started admiring his paintings. And he says, I can give you one of those. And I said, well, how much is it? And he says, I don't know, whatever you'd like to donate. And so I fell in love with this one painting of a little boy that's standing among some oxen.
Yes.
And so he went very patiently with me. I said, well, how about we used Western Union, and I sent him a small amount to make sure that he got it. And I didn't actually give him the rest of the donation until I got the painting, because I was worried. I thought, am I ever going to actually get this? And then, as I said before, we had fun watching it through the DHL notifications going around the world. Uganda's on the other side of the earth, and we were excited. I'd say, oh my gosh, it's in Amsterdam. Oh my gosh, it's in Germany. Oh my gosh, it's in the United States. We had more fun with the first painting or two that he sent, because it was just so miraculous that we could communicate. And then once I realized that, yes, he's for real. If he says he's going to make the 220-mile round trip to Kampala to send the painting, he's going to do it. And so now my friends and I, that we do go ahead and give him the money up front, because we know he's going to do it. And if anybody was worried, he could probably say, hey, I'll take a deposit. And then when you have proof that it's on the way, he'll work with anybody because he trusts people. And that's the nice thing about contacting him through the email. You're not just pushing a PayPal link. You actually become acquainted with him.
Yeah. And we can't guarantee anything about the sale of his work or anything. We're not affiliated. I'm not getting a commission. You're not getting a commission. We're just putting out word of helping another activist, because that's what the show's about. Action Hour is about getting activists, helping other activists and finding ways, ingenious ways. And that brings me to the next video clip, because they actually helped fund a young man that was going to veterinary school so that he could come back and take care of the animals at the sanctuary. Let's watch that clip.
For instance, we have our colleague, Godfrey Musenze Alanda, who is now at Imbuye Farm School, pursuing his veterinary nurse course. And we believe when he is finished with his studies, he will hope to the giving treatment and medication to the animals, thus reducing the challenge of the vet doctors, because they are so expensive. Sometimes we find ourselves that we can't afford the medication. But if we have a vet nurse at the sanctuary, that helps us that we just look for funds to buy just the drugs and the necessities.
It's a whole different ball game with the veterinarian there, because as a veterinarian, he probably has access that they don't, correct?
Yes, in fact, to be
In terms
specific,
of cost, etc.
yes, he's going. Godfrey's going to graduate actually this month, and he'll be a veterinary nurse, and they work under the umbrella-ship and leadership of a local veterinarian. But the nurses, they can do a lot more than the vet techs can do here in the States. They can actually obtain medicine, administer medicine, go out in the field. And Godfrey, because he received a scholarship from Kyotera Vegan Youth Empowerment Program, where he was dedicated already as a volunteer, he has also agreed to give part of his salary as he proceeds forward back to the program. And that's the wonderful part of their scholarship program, is that they help send members out into the community to be productive citizens, and then those members return and give back to the program. It's really wonderful.
Yes, and speaking of giving, we did want to give a special thanks, a special mention, and a special thanks to Ellen Dent and Celia and all the other people. Maybe you can mention some of the people, Bonnie, if you're prepared. Some of the people in the U.S. that have helped, and people, if you know these folks, you can get in touch with them and talk about their experience with the Kyotera organization, Vegan Youth Empowerment Program.
Yes, I'm going to try to remember. There's so many lovely people that have donated after being inspired about hearing my work that goes on with him. It's been Elvia Sedano, Ellen Dent, Patty Doyle, Heather Wilson, Celia Acevedo. I'm trying to remember. There's so many people. I wish I could remember them all right now.
Well, you did. I caught you on the spot there. You did a great job with that. We have a couple more clips. Just to go back to the story about the children, how does he find, now we see another little story here, a single mom that needed help, kind of like these children that were stranded. How does he find these individuals, or do they come to him? Can you address that?
Yes, and some come to Kyotera Vegan Youth Empowerment offices out of word of mouth, understanding that they may receive help there. But as I said before, Moses and his colleagues actually go out into the local villages. I believe there's 14 villages in the district of Kyotera, and they go out to all of them, and they actually walk and look for people in need. And that's how we came across those children that were living in that brick building with no roof on top. So it's very hands-on. It's very life or death. It's very urgent. There's there's malaria, there's starvation, there's all sorts of needs out there. And what is so lovely is that these people are so pleased and impressed and happy to be aided by KVYEP that they agree then, okay, I'll be kind, I'll be vegan, I'll take care of the earth. So that they're not asked to pay back other than in stewardship of the earth, and they're promised to be kind to animals. And when you're poor and when you're starving, and when you know that a goat that you see could feed your family for a while, it takes a lot of bravery and a lot of diligence and a lot of fortitude to say, no, animals have a right to life just like I do. My life was saved. I'm going to save that animal's life. I'm going to eat sweet potatoes. I'm going to eat rice and get just as much protein and actually eat better. They learn they're actually eating more healthy than eating a chicken that has a lot of fat and cholesterol and calories. They actually are taught that the food is actually healthier and, beyond just what tastes good.
Yes. And I just want to make another grandstand for Moses and the work he's doing. Just the thought of what he is doing, imagining that growing and building and getting, more and more people, more and more support, growing the organization, and even using that as a model to go into other countries. There are many other great charities that are doing work, but I love the fact that this one is so much about being vegan, being kind to, it's sort of like 360 approach to all of the things that we need to do on this earth to make, to make sure we continue to exist, basically.
Exactly. They're very into climate and earth conservation. They go to agricultural conferences and they talk about switching to plant-based agriculture, moving away from animal-based agriculture, not stripping down the rainforest. And so they are really just everywhere, permeating the environment over there, trying to take the goodwill for the earth and for mankind out where people need to hear it. So it's just amazing what they do.
Yes. Is there anything, we're just about out of time, actually a little over time, but is there anything you'd like to tell us that we haven't covered?
I just wanted to touch on the background of Moses, that what has made him into the champion for the animals that he is, and for the orphans. His mother died. He was at her bedside. She died when he was 8 years old, and his father had died before he was born. And he spent some time in an orphanage before he was able to live permanently with his grandmother, who's actually still alive today. And they're very much bonded and a great comfort to one another. She's 93 years old. And having to go to school, his mother, in the short 8 years that he was with her, and the grandmother instilled vegan values in him. And so he was ridiculed at school and made fun of. And he saw a lot of animal cruelty, just absolutely gut-wrenching, terrible things. And he just had it instilled in him from a very young age that he was going to dedicate his life to animal liberation and vegan living and planet conservation. And so he comes with just an intense background of practical experience for what he's doing. And so I can't tell you how much I admire him.
I agree. I admire Moses so much, his talent, his heart, his ability to build this organization with his colleagues.
Yes.
And to grow that and to work as a team. It's very difficult, very challenging, particularly when you have so many challenges. Now, we just want to remind people one more time that, your donation will do so much to help them if there's any way you can. If not, please share out this video and send it to any friend you can think of that might be doing, donations. Sometimes we get stuff in the mail from these big corporations asking for donations. We never know where our money is going. In this situation, it is hands-on, and you get response back and forth. Not a
form letter.
Thank you. A form letter from some corporation, but actually real interaction with a person that you're helping. And I think it's incredible.
Yes.
Hands-on approach. So please, everyone, if you can help, please do. If you can't, please share this out. That's so helpful as well. Thank you for being here, Bonnie, and we'll keep posted. Maybe next time we can get Moses on. We'll get the technology working and we'll have him on.
Yep.
But for this time, we'll have to say bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for being on.